All right, hey, welcome to HIT. My name's Chris Ciccanelli, and this is High Intensity Tactics for Growth, and I'm super excited. I have an amazing social expert on today. Not only social expert, but digital persuasion advisor. I like that a lot better because I think that that's really what it gets down to, and that's Erin Gargan, and I am super excited because we kind of found a little bit of things in common. You were definitely a baller back in the day playing lacrosse.
Thanks, Chris. Well, so were you. I mean, D-back, and yeah, championship and the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love that because you're like, hey, I got the eye, you used to do the eye black. I got all the stuff going.
Yeah, I got to get in there, man.
But you know, it's so funny. You found out that I was a D-back because you Googled me.
Research is the new listening.
Yeah.
There is nothing worse than people going, well, tell me about your business. Tell me about you. It's like, did you not Google me? Have a little respect. It's respectful to check someone out before you meet them, I think.
It's so crazy. I walked in the room and the first thing you said is, hey, I heard you're a D-back. And I'm like, whoa, this lady's done her homework on me. I mean, you had to go deep into that because that was like a long time ago.
I mean, page 4 of Google.
She was going, she was deep onto Google and trying to look at that. And I love it. Listening is the new, what did you say? How did you put it?
I said that research is the new listening. Our first impression is starting long before we make eye contact face to face. And so there are all these resources for you to show up as your best self once you use digital to ignite more meaningful dialogue.
It's crazy. With this whole Instagram social kind of movement with Facebook and, all of these different tools out here, this has been a big buzzword because so many businesses, so many people, so many entrepreneurs, so many influencers right now are trying to figure out this game, trying to figure out what's the best way to go about it. And you being that kind of advisor expert in this, give us a little bit of background on that.
So in terms of the I call it influencer influenza. It's a global outbreak. And so here's the thing, right? We got your celeb influencers, your macro influencers, your micros, your nanos, your influencers for the influencers. Yeah. My question is, who's going to be left to influence if everyone's an influencer, first of all? I mean, number 2, it's now a Halloween costume for $60. You too can be an influencer from Urban Outfitters. Yeah. So the whole thing is getting to this kind of comical level. However, what's behind it is not funny at all, which is that people in today's era, in today's marketplace, they're really looking for trust. Yeah. We don't trust big business. We don't trust big government. We don't trust what companies say about themselves. And so we look to others to really find out, make that shortcut. Who can I trust? What's going to be a high quality product or experience? Yeah. And so when we look at how, different teams are leveraging influencer marketing, really, in my opinion, every customer is an influencer because every customer has their sphere of influence. It might be Nana and mom, or it might be 5,000 people, but those people look to their friends that they know, like, and trust to make decisions.
People aren't buying products, they're buying people. That's exactly. I mean, they are buying what your reviews are. If you're going to go eat somewhere, I always say we're in that Yelp society. I mean, people have, if I'm going to go stay at a hotel, I'm going to eat at a restaurant or whatever. Could you imagine if Facebook actually put on like a score on everybody's Instagram or everybody's Facebook or whatever to really know what's going on out in the world? I mean, I feel like everything in today's world is really getting to that point of we have influencers. And if I go out there and do my business well, there's going to be, people that if you and I have a good time, you're going to go out and go, man, this guy, Chris, it was awesome to do his podcast. And that's your sphere. Yeah. And then those people maybe hopefully start listening. I mean, that's what's really happening.
It's so true. I mean, I think it'd be a great dating app, by the way. Yeah. Because everyone can score people, get a score on what was the experience like?
That would have made like a life a lot easier.
So, no, I mean, it's really big. And I think that, the really big trend that we're seeing is that it's not so much about keeping up with the Kardashians and having these millions of followers. We see these brand partnerships starting to emerge with influencers. And the reality is the more that influencer marketing starts to look like advertising, the less effective it is. Because the whole point is it's the anti-advertising. It's a genuine, organic endorsement. Yeah. And the more we go away from that and everything's my teeth whitener and my thing, it's a flash in the pan. It's going to lose its power. And so what I preach is that if you're looking to better leverage Instagram to influence your people, you have to endorse products that you actually believe in, that you actually use, that you actually want people to have a good experience like you did.
Oh my God. You mean you actually have to use the products you're selling?
Yeah. Crazy, huh?
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy. Well, because endorsements are kind of 90s, right? I always think about Michael Jordan and the Nike Airs. And, I wore Nikes for a long time. It worked. However, we're in this new era where, you can't really hide. The transparency is it just strips it all away. If something is not authentic and real and raw, it will be uncovered in moments. And the internet is ruthless.
Yeah. But hold on. But you got to think, if you go take the $9.99 down the street guy that's going to sit there and tell you, no, you have to have every post scheduled and everything's going to be done a certain way. But is that really authentic? Is that really authentic?
Well, I think you can probably tell when you're on social media when someone's scheduling it. And so it's, in my opinion, it takes way too much time and energy and effort to run social media campaigns that if you're not going to do it authentically and well and yourself, I actually say don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Because you're better off having no footprint than having a horrible footprint that has holes in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the big thing that I think people need to think about when they look at this landscape is that we always talk about being storytellers.
Yeah.
We have to tell our story. We have to tell our brand story, tell our product story, tell our story. And storytelling is critical. It's so important. And what I preach is an evolution from always taking the responsibility of being the storyteller on yourself to evolving to more of a story seeker. Who are the people in your network that can tell your story better than you can, more credibly than you can? Maybe they don't have skin in the game, so their endorsement goes so much further than yours does. So thinking through who are the people that are your real advocates that you can empower to kind of get that army out there and tell your story better than you can, which is what your organization does very well.
Yeah, and that's why I have you on the show today.
Perfect.
You know what? And that's true because it's like it's finding those people that can tell the story and to be able to articulate it and paint pictures. I feel like soft skills are lost on people today to be able to tell about a product, about how to go out there and change somebody's life, and to be a great storyteller takes you telling stories. You can't, it's practice. It's going out there and making sure. I mean, being an athlete, you have to practice some of these things that people go, gosh, I could never do what she does. She's so articulate when she's talking on Facebook Live, or when she's on Instagram, I don't take photos like she does. And mine never turns out the same way. But I tell them all the time, I'm like, look, some people have an eye for that. Some people are really just really good at storytelling. Some people are really good when it comes to photography. The other of us in the world, which is probably the other 90% of the world that's not good at that, we have to practice it.
Yes, I agree. And so what the other 90% of the world is kind of doing is they're existing at this intersection of aesthetic and authenticity. So it's that balance. So I look at profiles, for example, as putting your best foot forward. If you don't have a professional photographer, fine. But think of it like a first date or a job interview. When someone comes to your profile, we all do it, right? You get to a profile, and within one or two scrolls, you decide what you think about them. You've decided their personal brand. You know them in
Very
3
quickly.
seconds, or you think you do, right? So that's your profile. But then you have ephemeral content. You have that disappearing content like stories and Snapchat, and that really allows you to have a little more room for authenticity. I post what I would share with my actual real life friends. And where we see traction happening on social is when people actually have the courage to share what they're scared to share, to talk about what they're afraid to talk about. That's when you get traction. It's when people try to tell their story, but really it's someone else's story, or they're trying to make a perfect version of their story, or a Brachiosaurus version of their story that we all roll our eyes and we check out. So how can you show up making sure that you're taking a little bit of courage to put your real story out there, because no one has the same story as you. So there's the best way to digitally differentiate yourself is to dig deep and just show up and be real.
Yeah, but Erin, everybody, I'm talking to 30,000 business owners that work inside of Pure Romance on a daily basis, and they're like, man, I just don't have enough content. I don't know what people really want. I'm not creative, so therefore I don't want to put anything out there because this person's really good at social selling, and let her do it. I'm gonna stick to doing what I do well. I just see so many people that think that they have to create these like really crazy communication plans, and they feel like they're just not creative. So what happens is they give up. They stop doing it because they think that they have to have some PhD in marketing.
Right. The analysis paralysis.
Oh, gosh.
People overcomplicate social media so much. Kind of like health and fitness. Like whatever your struggle is. For me, I love pizza and wine. I like them in big quantities. Okay. So
virtual.
So my challenge is, eating clean and working out every day. So that's my challenge. People overcomplicate diet and fitness. Eat vegetables and sweat. End of story. It's not hard. This is not complicated, but it's $1 billion industry. Same with social media. People love to dive in the layers and they complicate it. And there's the calendar and you got the app and you got this and that. It's like, hey, it's not that complicated. Pick 1 or 2 platforms that you're comfortable with and go deep on them.
Yeah.
The minute that I stopped being everywhere, I had 7 social media profiles because I'm a social media expert. So I have to be everywhere, right? False. False. I have 2 social media profiles that I use, and the other 5 say, come find me over there.
Yeah.
And I go deep and narrow, and I build real community because we can't be everywhere all the time and do a good job. It's not possible. So pick 1 or 2 platforms. And the key is, it's that balance of scheduled to agile.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want the lights to go off on your content. You want to be consistent. And so if you look at the easiest way to create great social media content, it's just putting a microphone and a spotlight, no pun, around what you're already doing in your real life. You're just amplifying the moments that matter to you already. You don't have to always start from scratch and say, what should I create? What should I make? You're already doing it. Just magnify the real events that are happening every day, because maybe making that dinner is boring to you, but I love a good DIY step-by-step.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Get that.
Give me that chickpea recipe. Like, I'm interested, you know?
Give me that Blue Apron. I'm ready to go, baby. I'm not. But that's the thing. But everybody's been taught that they have to be on every platform. If you're not there, you're losing business. If you're not there, you're losing business. I'm the same way. I have 2: Instagram, Facebook. Everything else,
Boom.
point back here, because
Perfect.
I can't do it. But we're in a world that everybody views us and sees us being successful by views, likes, and followers. So some people are in this mindset that I got to be everywhere because I got to be driving views, likes, followers. Because if I don't, I'm gonna miss out on business. And that's what I was told. I have to do this if I want to be successful.
Sure. So vanity metrics are something that we get very caught up in, because in our world, we are starting to associate our personal value with the value people are assigning to us on social media.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
No.
That's not okay. The fact that Instagram's talking about taking away showing likes, in my opinion, it's very controversial. I think it's genius.
I think it's awesome.
For the younger generation that is refreshing
Totally.
and refreshing, and young girls that are deleting a post because they didn't get 100 likes within a certain amount of time, we cannot validate ourselves by these vanity metrics. Now, that's another whole soapbox. But for business, which is your question, bringing it back to business, I measure my social media efforts by, did it help me to sell anything?
Yeah.
Did I generate revenue from my activity, from my content? And a lot of times, especially in your business, what I know is that just because people aren't liking your posts or sharing your posts or following you, doesn't mean that they're not seeing your journey. A lot of times we are voyeurs, particularly in an industry where there is some hesitation around the topics, the subject matter. And so one thing that I will say is that, you know, when you're looking at your social media, I peeled back to 2 platforms. I saw my revenue actually grow and increase because I'm showing up and being real to a small audience. I'm not measuring it by vanity. I'm measuring it by conversions. Did anyone come to my website? Did anyone send me a DM and ask about bringing me to their event like you did?
Yeah.
So figure out what your KPIs are. What are those key performance indicators for your business, and work backwards from those, because all the rest really is pretty much just ego-driven, right? And a lot of people, by the way, are buying artificial influence. Most influencers, 80% of their audience is fake.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, it finally comes out. See, take
It's fake.
Hey, listen, you're talking about a digital expert. And when I tell people all the time, because people go out and they see this person had 30,000 people or 43,000 people or 65,000 people that are following them. But when you look at it, here's the deal. You see that there's only 50 likes on their page or maybe 100 likes. And some of that stuff's not making sense. But that's what people are saying. Hey, I need to have more likes because it makes me look like I have a bigger business. No, it's about making sure that the people that are following you are authentic, they're true. Those are your real people, because I'm the same way.
It's true.
If you can like anything you want, but if it's not driving revenue, then why do it? Now, one big component, though, that I deal with, we just had a product launch the other night from Stage.
I saw that on Instagram. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And one of the questions that was asked to our panel of experts at that time was, I post this stuff on Facebook sometimes, but it's crickets. I don't get any feedback, so I just stopped doing it because I never was able to take a post and put it into revenue. I know every time you post something, it turns into revenue, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, every time, yeah, very, very direct correlation.
Yeah.
So the distinction here take the term social selling. Okay, so social selling, you have social selling, which is sales.
Yeah.
That is lead gen, that is conversion, that is revenue based. Then you have social marketing. Marketing supports sales. That is more awareness. That is branding. That is recognition. And I think where it gets challenging is when we try to assign sales success metrics to marketing efforts, when it's really marketing that supports sales. It's not a direct correlation.
Yeah.
And so when you look at someone that's saying, gosh, I posted on Facebook and nothing happened, okay, number one, Facebook is not really the place unless you have budget to sponsor and promote your posts for the most part, if you have a business page. I mean, organic is dead there. So what is your paid strategy to actually get in front of and target the right types of people? And number two, just doing it, just posting, checking the box, doesn't mean you're doing it well. What did you post? Why did you get crickets? Let's talk about that. Are you tagging other friends in that post to bring them into the conversation, right? Do you have a strategic plan? Because, by the way, it's actually sometimes better to just have a smaller, more vibrant discussion with 1 or 2 DMs of tell me more about your business than to have 100 people in your network that are just like, go girl, but never actually buy anything.
Exactly. And, it's so funny you said that because I have the method, this whole Facebook, and I tell people all the time, it's like the show Deadliest Catch. Have you ever watched Deadliest Catch?
Absolutely.
All right. They basically, in Deadliest Catch, right? If you haven't watched the show, they drop these big, huge crates in the middle of the ocean. They put a little food in there and they hope that these crabs come in and the lobsters or whatever they're trying to catch at that time. And then they pull it up and they go, oh, we hope it's a big pool. We hope it's a big pool. And sometimes it's big and sometimes it's small. That's what I feel with Facebook right now. I feel like so many people just put an ad out there. Hey, buy this product, not tag any, not have anything that is authentic at all, not even setting it up, and then hoping, that's what I think that it is, hoping that they're going to have somebody to do stuff. And most of the time it's somebody that's likes or somebody that says, oh, that's awesome. Most people will say nothing because it's not authentic. It's not real. It's just kind of blah.
And hope is not a strategy.
No.
So working backwards from a big question, which no one really answers, most people don't answer, is why am I doing this? What is my goal with social media? Do I want to just get a big following so when someone looks me up, I look like an influencer?
Do I really have to have a goal for social media?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I just thought I was supposed to put stuff out there and then, like, what's the goal?
Exactly. Well, people think if I'm not doing it, it's a have to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. Yeah. All you have to do is show up as your best self and grow your business. And if it's not serving you, it's because maybe you haven't been clear about what you're trying to do about it. So with your organization, for example, I would assume that the goal of your consultants is to use social to cultivate curiosity around the journey that your consultants are on. It's the goal is to attract someone, to pull them in, not to spray and pray and cast the net and fingers crossed, but to hopefully tell a story that attracts people to say, tell me more.
Yep.
If that's the goal, then we need to be amplifying the moments that are either in your parties or the moments that are in these conversations where what is that conversion moment for people that have joined your army? What made them link arms? What was that tipping point for them? Because if they exist, others like them exist. Are we amplifying that tipping point, that critical moment?
I'm going to tell you no, because here's the thing. Here, we talk about this all the time, and it frustrates me when I see this because influencers are at your party. I go do a party, right? This hostess walks out, and it's an amazing, amazing event. Why aren't you interviewing that hostess? When you say magnify, big time, be able to examine, that hostess had a great job. Had a $1,000 party, $100 in free products she was able to get, and not one interview went on with her on Facebook. I think that is a missed opportunity because it's authentic, it's real, and right now it's another influencer that's talking, and you're able to tag her in that.
100%. So what people are doing oftentimes at events, like even this event that we're having here at Pure Romance, people like to show the what. So for example, someone would come to this right here, take a picture of us and say, Erin and Chris are podcasting. Well, duh. We can see that from the image. Yeah. That's the what. The what is not persuasive. What's persuasive is the why and the how. Why are Erin and Chris having this discussion? Does Chris have a mission? Does Erin have a mission? Or how did this come to be? How are we going to move forward? The why and the how is what's missing from that narrative. So show about you. Yes, I'm at a party. I'm at an event. Great. But go deeper, type about them, bring them on the experience with you. Imagine that you had this problem and then you met this influencer and they said this to you. Now someone's walking that journey with you. Now they're invested. That's persuasive because persuasion is personal. It's so
huge.
personal.
And think about this. When you are able to persuade somebody for good, like there's a lot of people out there that are struggling for being able to make their payment. Most people living paycheck to paycheck, month by month, just getting by, right? And you see some of these people that are out there living this unbelievable lifestyle that on Instagram and on Facebook, and you sit there, and we have to understand that there are people that are sitting that are in that mindset. We as business owners can persuade them to take change and do something about it by showing what we're able to gain with owning our business. What does our freedom look like? What does our flexibility look like? But people go, I don't want to brag about my life.
Well, it's a fine line, great point, between braggosaurus and motivation. And so walking that line is key. And that's kind of what we're talking about, which is when you just say, look at me, financial freedom, and I'm empowering. It's not empowering to just show about you and type about you. It's empowering to show about you, but type about how they can get to where you are so they can see themselves in that metamorphosis.
Okay, because I will tell you right now, I was one of those folks that did not want to post when I was in the Bahamas or I was in St. Martin or I was in Paris or whatever, because I was like, oh man, that's bragging. But or that, I didn't want people to go, gosh, he's not really working. No, I worked my ass off to get to where I'm at.
Yeah.
But what I needed to do, and I'm starting to learn that, is to share how I got there and how it is and how they can get themselves there by putting that same work and that same drive in and taking it from that mindset of braggosaurus into giving them and persuading them that saying, hey, there's options out there for you to change your life.
Absolutely. And another great thing, when you're in a beautiful place, let's say you're, where are you going next, by the way? Where's your next trip?
Oh, next one is Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Rincon?
I'm going to go to the St. Regis. We're going to go, Poquito Español.
Poquito Español?
Yeah.
Sí, tu español muy bueno, sí.
Bueno?
Sí,
Sí.
muy bueno.
Yeah.
So me encanta Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
Pura Vida, and I spent time in Rincon and all this stuff. So the coolest thing about Puerto Rico is that the people that live there are so friendly. You're going to get so many great stories. And even if you're showing yourself at the St. Regis, everyone's seeing you poolside, you got your cocktail, whatevs. You can tell a great story about a moment that you saw service happening that blew your mind. And what a takeaway for you as a CEO to remember about serving your customers and how are you serving your customers. You're bringing it back to them. Every encounter that you have, they can see themselves in you, whether it's the St. Regis or whatever down the street, because we all have the same couple of things. We want to be of service. We want to keep striving for our goals, and we want to do better than we did yesterday. And so when you're showing those things, it doesn't matter where you are, people will identify with you and they will lean forward and they will like.
Love it. All right, what's hot? You mean you're kind of this expert. What's trending right now in kind of digital communication strategy? What are the big things that everybody's kind of leaning in on right now? Because there is so much, and I feel like I'm glad you said, get it down to two. Don't have all these places. Focus on a couple things and go deep. But what other things can you help a brand new business owner that's out there or a person that's there but struggling to go into this world because it's overwhelming? What would that advice be?
One word, one syllable. Live. Live, live, live. Going live. Live video. I'll say it again. Live. Live video is the future of how we are going to interact, do business, and exchange. Everything from information, products and services, ideas. Ideas are the currency of live. So when you think about going live, pushing, my friend Brian Fanzo is a great speaker. He has a phrase which I love. He says, just press the damn button. And I just love that because, and I walk my walk. I do my 2 platforms. I go live every week, sometimes every day. And whatever I preach, I do. So I understand that people are afraid to push the button because what's going to happen? Well, guess what? I had a live, we were on Catalina Island in Southern California. I had 500 people on a live call and the AT&T tower cut out and we dropped 500 people on the live call. Was it ideal? No. But did anyone die? No. We're not doing brain surgery. It's just Instagram. Okay? Everyone made it. Okay? It wasn't, we're just talking about social media on social media. Like it's not ideal, but no one died. So we rescheduled it and it's fine. So things are going to go wrong. Whenever I go live from my house, it'll be silent all morning. And then the minute I push the button, the garbage man, then the cats, and the neighbors, and this one, that one, all of a sudden my whole neighborhood becomes so loud. And then as soon as we're finished, it's crickets again, perfectly peaceful. Things are going to go wrong. The other thing is that a lot of times we're very critical of ourselves. Well, how do I look? And is my hair and makeup, like you're a dude, so you have, obviously you're very handsome, but I'm just saying we have a lot more to do. Okay? We don't just show up looking like this. This took me 3 hours this morning. Okay. Okay. So we have a lot more to do. So women are like, oh, I gotta get ready and put the face on. No, here's the thing. We think people are contemplating how we look online a lot more than they are. We are all looking at our own profiles more than anybody else's. We're watching our own stories more than anybody else's. So just realize that if you're showing up, no matter how you look, just give great advice, give great takeaways, tell a great story, and just have that conversation with your people. Because when you are going live, you are beating the algorithms. You're getting pushed up to the top of people's news feeds. You're able to take that live and repurpose it for later. You can use it, you can upload it to YouTube, you can put it on your feed, you can share it in other places, you can use it for evergreen content, you can use it for emails. So every time you're going live, you're having this really exciting dialogue, and people know that authenticity is happening because it's in real time. There's no filter and perfection when you're going live, and people are hungry for that.
Yeah. All right. So if you had to pick your one platform, all right, because everybody asks, going live, do you go live in both, in Instagram and in Facebook, or is it one? If you chose one to really be more kind of dug into, how does that work for you?
It depends on your business.
Yeah.
On my business, the people that I am trying to reach are a lot of these direct selling organizations that I help to evolve how they're thinking about social. They spend most of their time, that I found, on primarily Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram's where they want to be.
Yeah.
Facebook's where they go because they feel like they should be on
there.
Facebook because a lot of people are there.
Yeah.
So I've gone deep and narrow on my Instagram strategy because for right now, it's still an organic strategy.
Yeah.
You don't have to sponsor every piece of content to be seen. Now, of course, Instagram's a publicly traded company. It's part of Facebook. They have to make their shareholders and investors happy. So pretty soon, the rug's gonna get ripped out from under them, and we will have to pay just like Facebook. So it's coming.
Yeah.
But for right now, you still can get some organic reach on Instagram. Facebook is a totally pay-to-play environment. So for me, I go deep and narrow on Instagram. I capture everything I'm doing. I do screen grabs of what I'm doing, and I'll repurpose it on Facebook. But really, Facebook for me, I delete it from my phone. I am barely ever on it, but that's my audience.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
And also because my screen time was 5 hours a day, and even though I'm a social media expert who talks about social media, I am determined to get it down to 2 hours a day, and then I'm shutting my phone off because there's a lot of life to be living. And I find that I think I'm working. I'm telling myself I'm working, but really I'm just mindlessly scrolling, looking at crap, wasting my life.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to be a little more cognizant and aware, not only to be more positive and not play the comparison game of keep up with the Kardashians and the Joneses and the whole damn internet, but also being more productive with our time. Because every minute that you're scrolling is a minute you're not living. And so I feel like when you get in there, you got to get in there, do your thing, touch base, publish your content, and get out and get back to doing what you should be doing, which is having face-to-face human conversations.
God, I love. Okay, can we go on the road together? Golly. Okay,
I'm very passionate. Don't ask me this question. I'm very passionate
I can
about
tell.
it.
I love it. There is so much life to be lived, man. You're right. And I see too many people doing this all the time.
Social media
It's
is so
crazy.
powerful. It's not negative or positive on its own. It's how we choose to have a healthy relationship with it that matters. And I believe at this point, we are at a stage where we have too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
And I believe we can use it to build our businesses in a healthy, positive way. But the first step is to being intentional and aware and setting those stopping points. Because otherwise, whether it's Netflix playing the next show or the endless scroll, we find ourselves looking up and saying, we just wasted an hour of our life that we cannot get back. So life's short.
Life is way too short. Okay, I don't want to put you on the spot with any type of like stats or algorithm things that are going on. Can we talk a little bit about algorithm?
Yep.
All right. So so I'm hearing a lot of people talk about having business pages. You just mentioned it. A lot of people moving. They've got over 5,000 friends or pen pals, whatever you want to look at. And so when we start thinking about that, there's a lot of people that don't understand. They're like, man, why is my audience not seeing my posts? And then I'm starting to hear now, even with people that have regular pages, that they're posting stuff, but it's not nobody's seeing it. What's happening?
The best way to explain it, think about it like real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, so we live in Laguna Beach, California. And so a little square of grass in Laguna Beach, California is like $90 bajillion.
Yes.
Okay, so think of it on Facebook as real estate. There's a limited amount of real estate in these news feeds. And so it used to be kind of the Wild West. Put a little stake in the ground, you build your little cabin by the river, happy days, ride the horse around.
Yeah.
But now it's getting more like Times Square, New York City, where every square foot's a little more valuable. And so what Facebook is doing is they have figured out that the only way to prioritize what is being seen is who is willing to pay the most to get there. So it's a business. It's a publicly traded business. And the thing is, if you think about it, we're all like, wow, Facebook's so great. It's free. It's not free.
No.
We're paying for it with our data and our identities. And so we're now having to pay the price, is that they know everything about us.
Yep.
And it's a business. So you have to pay to play, and you have to pay to be shown. Now, is Facebook advertising unbelievably effective? Yes. We can target the gal living in Cincinnati who likes Cincinnati spaghetti or chili spaghetti, whatever I read that y'all have out here, and who went to the baseball game last night and will be shopping across the street at Saks this morning. You can target in such a granular way. It's very powerful as long as you're really clear on your audience and your message. I'm not saying don't do it. Absolutely invest in it if you have a clear strategy, a clear call to action, a compelling offer, and you know who your people are. If you don't, I recommend migrating some of your efforts to Instagram because it still has that organic play. And the thing is, when you do that and you start to tell people where you are, you will start to really play in a space that isn't so saturated with everyone. If you look at Instagram and the hashtag system that they've developed, you can really uncover really interesting micro niches and conversations and add value to those conversations and bring people to you versus always trying to push and DMs. You can pull them towards you by contributing to parties that are already happening, no pun for you guys, versus always saying, come to my house, I'm throwing a party. It's like, we already got a party going. Just jump in and join ours. And then they'll come to your house.
Hashtag, right? And that's what I love it because I didn't understand the whole hashtag thing for a long period of time. And they were like, and so I talked to Suzanne, like, hey, should we start hashtagging more stuff? And we were looking, kind of doing our research, and we went, oh my gosh, we're missing that there's other people that are talking about the same things.
Like keywords.
Yeah. So
how you discover things.
Yeah, like, hey, live life by design. There's other people that want to design their own life. Hey, like, want to go out there and do life different. There's people that are out there wanting to do life different. Or hashtag party. You're a party. I mean, you're definitely a party. I'm making sure I invite you to my next one. So when you think of some of the algorithms, though, for a small business owner, she can't pay for the Facebook ads. I mean, she's competing in that world that even from big businesses, they are controlling, they are they're taking a look at their analytics. How do you tell that younger business or that startup business to do it on Facebook?
Groups. Private, secret, closed groups where it is invite only. You have a very clear idea of who your audience is because groups is the last frontier of real estate in Facebook that has not been completely developed.
Yeah.
It's the last frontier of the Wild West are those groups. Now, that's going to change eventually.
Yep.
But for right now, it's kind of the last untouched place where you can actually cultivate your community, where the majority of your posts are seen, people that opt in to say, yes, I want to be a part of it. And also what you're doing is you're kind of putting some parameters around it, making it feel a little more exclusive, where everyone's there for a very specific purpose.
Yeah.
Also, when you go live in those groups, you'll see these unbelievable discussions that happen with the archived version of your live. Because when you go live, it stays up. And you'll see people that are joining in the conversation with comments 3 days, 4 days, a week later. So it gives your hard work with your contenting longer legs and more of a return on that investment of your time.
Love it. All right, last question. Biggest mistake you see people do with their social media platforms?
The biggest mistake that people do with their social media platforms is, oh gosh, how much time do you have?
Okay, maybe we're going to have a part 2 to this interview.
Well, I'm going to reveal the big mistake in my keynote today, but I'll give you a preview of it.
Yeah.
So the biggest mistake that people make is that they forget that we don't type like we talk. Ooh. We don't type like we talk. We are 34 times more persuasive face-to-face in person than we are behind screens. It takes 200 digital asks to equal the same number of yeses as just asking 6 people in person. So we are scientifically set up to suck at this. Now, what's clear is that if you can be more intentional about how you're typing, not always making it all about you. You can show about you because what else are you going to show? But your captions, your content, your ideas, your offers must be from a place of service, must be a place of what's in it for my audience. We must flip the focus and make it about them because no one really cares about you. No one cares about me. No, people think that we have all these fans and followers. People are still checking their own profiles more than yours, I guarantee you. So making sure you're coming from a place of service and value. It's okay to post a selfie, but offer us some value. If you post a selfie from the convention here, great. Don't just be like, I'm at convention, you're not, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't help. What you want to say is like, I sat down with this woman and she told me this incredible story about how she had been really struggling with her confidence. And I realized that I had too. And if you've ever felt like this, here's what she said to me, and here's how it affected me, and how will it affect you. Always leave it back with them with something to think about. Leave the internet better than before you posted. Stopping there's a lot of stuff out there that's not great. And so one message at a time, you can change that. You can be the change we all want to see in our news feeds.
I will tell you, this has been a fantastic interview. I can tell you right now, if anybody wants to follow you or on any of your different handles, how would they get to follow you?
On the gram,
Yep.
at Erin Gargan King.
Oh, on the gram. I like
gram.
that. All right. Well, listen, this is hit, and I really, really appreciate you being on this. This is High Intensity Tactics. Remember, you've always had the pen to make the change, so make sure you go out there today, live it. Live life by design, not by default. Erin, thank you so much for
Chris.
being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.